Hello and welcome. Today we will be discussing the Shinto religion. In some ways, it has influenced the people of modern day Japan. First things first, what exactly is Shintoism? To understand Shintoism, I will discuss what it is factually and then compare it to other religions for better understanding. So, from an academic standpoint, Shinto is the native or ethnic religion of Japan. Being a folk religion, it comes in a variety of shapes and sizes, but most, if not all, variants hold the same standard beliefs and practices. Shintoism is a polytheistic religion. That is to say, in Shintoism, there isn't one god, but many gods. Each god is, or at least represents, a certain element or building block of the world and of the cosmos. For example, Amaterasu Omikami. She is the goddess of the sun and ruler of her pantheon. This means, in being the personification of the sun, she's similar to the Egyptian Ra, the Greco-Roman Helios, or the Norse Sol. However, her being the leader makes her similar to the Norse Odin, the Greco-Roman Zeus or Jupiter, or the Egyptian Amun-Ra. Another example is, or I should say are, Raijin and Fujin. Raijin and Fujin are twin brothers. They always accompany each other. Raijin is lightning and thunder, whilst Fujin is the strong winds with said lightning and thunder. Raijin is akin to the Slavic Perun, the Norse Thor, and the Greco-Roman Zeus or Jupiter. Meanwhile, Fujin is similar to the Hindu Vayu, the Egyptian Amun, or the Norse Kari or Njörður. It is now important to point out what is meant by being and representing. There are two main ways to view Shintoism and any other pagan religion. The easy way to view it is from an outside lens, the representation route. That is to say, viewing these gods as flesh and bone humanoid creatures that have these certain abilities. Just imagine how you think about European pantheons, whether it be the Greco-Roman pantheon, or the Norse pantheon, or the Slavic. When you think of Odin, you probably think of a mystical old man wearing an eye patch, holding a spear with a raven on his shoulder. When you think of Zeus or Jupiter, you think of an absolutely ripped old man with a big white beard and long white hair that throws lightning bolts from the heavens, or Olympus. You might do this very same thing with the Japanese pantheon. The other potential view, that of being, is the more animistic side. That is to say, these gods are the thing itself, or the energy or spirit related to that thing. Amaterasu Omikami is quite literally the sun. Raijin is the thunder and lightning itself, and Fujin is the wind. Admittedly, it is hard to grasp or come to terms with the second view, especially from a flesh and bone or monotheistic viewpoint. There is no creator being worshipped here, rather, what would be considered the creation itself from Christian standpoint is being worshipped. This can be baffling for some, but truth be told, this is how all pagan religions work. And most cultures have their foundations in such religions. Just think back to the Norse, the Egyptians, the Romans, the Greeks, and the Slavs. It's exactly the same type of religion. Sure, the specificities of the gods, the stories, and religious practices are different, but the nuts and bolts are the same. Now, for practice and ritual, the first important thing is discussing places and structures. The first structure to introduce is the torii. These are the classic pillars, archways, or gates you think of when you think of Japan. These torii are the gates of Shinto shrines and mark the start of what's considered a sacred or holy space. Often on torii or shrines are shimenawa. These paper streamers mark sacred objects and places. The path past the torii up to the shrine grounds is called sando. Oftentimes, before reaching the shrine, you'll find a fountain, called it tamizuya or chozuya. There is a set order to things, but you use the water from the fountain to wash your hands and mouth, and thus purify yourself before meeting the gods. Now, either in front of the torii or in front of the shrine itself, you'll find komainu. These lion or dog statues are protectors of the shrine grounds. Now, it depends on the shrine, But if it's a full-size, all-encompassing shrine, you will have the Honden, the Haiden, the Heiden, and the Kaguraden. The Honden is the main hall, or shrine, and is where the kami dwell. Being such, it is typically off-limits to all but the priests. The Haiden is placed in front of the Honden. It is the worship hall, where all may come and, well, worship the gods. In between the Haiden and the Honden is the Heiden. The Heiden is the offering hall. Here, people can give offerings to the gods or a specific god. For example, food and or sake, as well as certain types of papers and cloth. Lastly, the Kaguraden. This structure is dedicated to dances, plays, and art forms that revere the gods during certain ceremonies. It's usually in front of or to the side of the Honden. Now, for day-to-day use, ease, and personal practice, it is also common to have a kamidana, or home shrine/altar, in one's own home. Here, one can use this personal small altar or shrine to venerate ancestors, worship kami, and revere other entities of choice. Now, as for common themes, rituals, and practices in Shintoism, things like purification, cleansing, clapping, bowing, coin tossing, gratitude, offering, charms and seals, respecting nature, living simply, and celebrating matsuri or festivals are all important and key. Now, this is where I discuss a few ways Shinto influences modern Japanese people, even if they're irreligious or practicing other belief systems. In many martial arts and just arts in general, the color white represents purity, both of body, mind, and spirit. It's a clean slate. I think many would enjoy it, but Japanese people especially enjoy going to onsen or hot springs. Cleansing oneself and then resting in a pool of cozy, sediment-rich hot water really cleanses the soul. It's common knowledge, but Japanese people bow a lot. They bow to say hello, to say goodbye, to say thank you, to say I'm sorry, and so on and so forth. This gratitude and humility is really showing. That being said, Japanese people are always thanking and apologizing to each other. Thanks for the good, sorry about the bad. Again, gratitude and even harmony. It's all about reciprocating and finding balance. There is also Japanese omiyage culture. If you go someplace or visit someone's home or something, give a gift. An offering is giving up a piece of what you have to show appreciation for what you've received. As for charms, there's always the stories of couples going to buy good luck charms to see how fit they are for each other or if they're destined to be. Furthermore, though silly from the outside, many Japanese students will buy a Kit Kat bar before taking their exams because Kitto Katto sounds very similar to Kitto Katsu, or I will surely win. As for respecting nature, or at least items and the world around us, many Japanese people will scold their children when they hit something, for example, the wall, and will say, "Don't hurt Mr. Wall." They attach a human element to inanimate objects to teach the importance of respecting things to their kids. With living simply, though not common, it's more common in Japan to be a minimalist. That is to say, to live life without all this stuff. Consumers buy all sorts of things, gadgets, tools, and doohickeys that you might not actually need. Minimalists will buy the bare necessities needed to live a comfortable life. And lastly, matsuri. We've all seen pictures or videos of them. Food stalls, fireworks, kimono, yukata, dancing, games, portable shrines, floats, etc. Japanese people still like to celebrate the changing of the seasons and other occasions. With all this said, I think I have done a decent job in showing you what Shintoism is and how it affects the lives of ordinary modern Japanese people. Thanks for listening and watching. I hope that you enjoyed it and more importantly, that you've learned something today. Jana!